Hello and welcome to the Con Couple. I'm Richard,
I'm Caroline,
and we go to a frankly dazzling number of cons every year.
which is good because we need to re-record this episode.
Yes, we had some technical problems with it. For some reason, when we recorded it on Monday, or Sunday night, I should say, it recorded like the first 45 seconds and then the last hour or so. So we got home, and I was like, okay, that was a good 2.5 hour recording. Looked at the phone. Why has it only got an hour of audio footage? So yeah, that was annoying.
Yep.
So we are re-recording it on Friday while we are on our way to the Sengawa project.
Yes.
So yay. So this is our episode on Ohayocon 2026. Sorry it's late, but yeah, technical issues.
Technical issues, that's the main reason, technical issues. It's not anything like we were afraid to release the episode or something like that, I want to assure you.
No.
We'll talk briefly about that. It was mostly just our tech equipment failed. So
Yeah.
hopefully it works this time.
Yeah, hopefully. So yeah.
So this is our Ohayocon episode.
Yep.
Our intro, the last take was better. It's fine.
It's fine. Again, we're having fun with this episode.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult episode insofar as this con is almost like a loaded term in and of itself at the moment in certain communities, and it's a little bit frustrating when you're attempting to remain neutral, not interested in con drama, mostly just interested in cons podcast.
Yep.
So, I'm going to briefly explain what level we're willing to talk about the quote-unquote drama.
There was some drama a couple of years ago. Some people left. They went off and started their own con. We've now been to both cons, and quite frankly, we will continue to go to both cons, assuming schedules line up and permit it. That's about as much as I'm comfortable saying about it.
Yeah, pretty much. We're neutral. We want to go to both cons. I will say we are by far not the only people who go to both cons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
About 15% of people who go to Ohayocon also went to SakaiCon last year. It's not like there's no overlap.
No, there's a bunch of overlap.
Yeah.
And again, if you want our thoughts on that con, the episode is somewhere in the mid-30s, I believe.
And we'll attempt to remain at least somewhat neutral-ish. Is that fair?
Pretty much.
So yeah, we're not a drama podcast, and part of the reason we're not reporting on the drama is, again, I can't verify anything that's on the internet. Even if you have like a document that says it's from a group, I can't verify it's from that group, okay? Like, I just can't. So we will talk a little bit about it in the context of people bringing it up this weekend, which are people who we've heard from. So, but that's about the amount that we'll bring it up generally.
Pretty much.
Other than you occasionally being snarky, I guess, but that's fine.
Again, I'm British. I can't turn the snark switch off.
If you want to be snark, that's fine. I
can
just will not be snark.
I can turn the snark switch down to minimum, but it doesn't have an off setting.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Ohayocon 2026. So Ohayocon in 2022 was actually the first ever con we went to.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a really good time, as indicated by the fact that we've since gone to God knows how many cons. Like, it's the one that gave us the bug in the first place. So we do, like, Ohayocon does kind of hold a special place in our heart for that.
Yes. It was originally in Columbus. It's moved to Dayton as a result, I think, mostly of some of the con drama, although I'm sure there were a variety of factors.
Yep.
But I think every year we pretty much loved it. So.
Oh, well. Again, last year they were definitely having a few issues regarding the fact that they just moved to the Dayton Convention Center.
Yeah, the Dayton Convention Center was still under construction at the time, so they had to use a nearby hotel and bus people back and forth.
Which
I don't think
sort of worked, sort of didn't.
I got the suspicion from that they didn't intend to do that, and then the hotel was not ready in the time span that was needed, and everyone kind of...
And there was also a cheerleading convention going on in the convention center at the same weekend.
Yeah.
So they didn't have like all the space they needed, and it ended up being a little bit of a hodgepodge last year. Whereas this year, much improved. They had the whole convention center for the whole weekend. We weren't sharing the space with anybody, and the official con hotel was the one that's connected to the convention center that's now open. Granted, it's the one that we had described to us by people from a previous convention at that hotel as having the art design of early Soviet gulag. But yeah, we heard from somebody who stated this weekend that it was, and I quote, "The bed was comfortable, I slept okay. It's about all I can ask for."
Yes. And just as a quick reminder related to the drama, which we still have to kind of bring up a little bit, like, one, because people are going to ask about this, attendance numbers were, I would say, pretty good. Again, we don't keep exact counts, but they were better than last year's.
We know they sold out of day tickets all 3 days.
Yeah, and some people think that was like a gimmick where they were pretending to sell out, but not actually. But it was pretty well attended on Saturday.
Yes.
And I don't know what their day ticket rate was. So,
Not a clue.
but it was, I think, especially on Saturday, fairly well attended.
Mhm.
And two, we're not going to just be saying a bunch of bad things about this con. That's not what we do. We're a legitimate con review podcast. We will have some criticisms, but they will be criticisms that are done with love and respect.
Yes.
And three, as a reminder, regardless of what you feel about this issue, don't harass anyone.
Oh, God, no. And
Nobody should feel bad about attending a convention.
And for the love of God, don't send death threats.
That's to everyone. But generally, like, wanting to watch something fail, I think I mentioned this in the original episode, is not advocacy.
No.
Boycotting is advocacy. If you want to boycott Ohayocon or any other con, that's your prerogative.
Mm-hmm.
But bullying people is not advocacy. And wanting to watch something burn to the ground just because you get pleasure out of it is also not advocacy.
Nope.
So we're not interested in those particular things. And I legitimately believe that nobody should feel bad for attending a convention. There's absolutely conventions that are problematic if you're attending something like, a Nazi convention. The problem there is that you're a Nazi, not that you're attending the convention. The convention is not really the problem. It's the Nazism.
Yeah.
So similarly, that's, I think, our kind of belief about cons and how we report on them generally.
Pretty much.
Plus, if we're trying to avoid every con drama possible, we would not be able to go to conventions at all.
Yeah, no.
So,
because every con has, here's the thing, every con has stuff like this happen. It's just most of the time it doesn't get this public.
Yeah. And most of the time it doesn't have a wide-reaching social media campaign that did not help, I think, anyone.
But yeah. So we'll talk briefly about the Dayton Convention Center. As I mentioned, they had the entire thing this time. And so the convention itself was set up over all three levels. So ground floor, they'd combined two of the big halls at the back into effectively their artist alley and their vendors hall. And their celebrity area was also over there. And the third hall was partially combined. They had, they had sections of it that you could get through easily, and that was effectively their food hall.
It was a much better layout than last year.
Significantly improved on last year. And when I say food hall, last year they had some food trucks. This year I think they decided it was going to be too cold. It probably was last year as well. So they actually brought the food trucks inside, parked them up in that hall, and put some tables in there. So made effectively a mini food hall. Worked great. My only complaint is a few more tables would have been nice. And that's a fairly minor criticism, because about half the time there were enough tables, and the other half of the time there weren't. Just based on how many people were there. I'll talk briefly about the food. There were 4 different food trucks, one of which was doing like bubble tea kind of stuff. Did not try that one, just because I'm not a bubble tea guy. And the other 3 were a Filipino one, a Mexican one, and a burgers and loaded fries kind of place. They were all pretty good. Depending on what food you fancied, I think you had good options. I tried all 3. They were all pretty tasty. I don't know what else to particularly say about the food trucks other than they were good.
Having them inside was nice.
Oh, God, yes. Like, if I'd had to go outside to get the stuff and stand out in the freezing cold in cosplay, that would have kind of sucked. So whoever made the decision to bring them inside, good decision. Thank you.
Great decision, honestly.
Yep. Dayton Convention Center parking is the same as it always is. It's $10 a day event fee, and it's a covered parking garage, multi-level. It's fine. It works.
It is connected via Skybridge, which, if you're in cosplay, is real nice, especially in winter.
Very much so.
And the parking prices are actually reasonable. So.
Yeah, $10 a day is fine. We've paid worse. We will, almost certainly pay worse again in the future. But $10 is perfectly reasonable. I do not have an issue with paying that.
And we did drive back and forth for this con. Normally, Dayton is one where we do kind of cave and get a hotel, which we did for Ohayocon/Ohayocon. I'm aware that it's pronounced Ohayocon. It's just we have been going for 4 years, and
we saw it written down
known as Ohayocon, so we say Ohayocon.
Yep.
So I'm worried that we said it for all of this video as Ohayocon, but it's fine.
It doesn't really matter.
Somebody's going to complain in the comments.
Hey, if they complain in the comments, that's just free engagement for us.
Okay. But this time I had surgery this week, and we just didn't know for sure if this con was going to happen until later. So.
Yeah, your surgery was on Wednesday. We did not know how it was going to go until it went.
And for those of you who are longtime listeners of the podcast, you know that I've been having medical stuff recently. This went about as well as it could have gone.
Yeah.
And I gave an academic presentation the morning before. Like the morning of, actually.
Yeah, like your surgery was at 11:30. You gave that academic presentation at 10.
Mm-hmm.
You dumbass.
Yeah.
Thank God for virtual conferences.
Yeah.
Like you're actively taking medication to prep for the anesthesia towards the end of your presentation.
Don't say I'm not a bad, you know what.
You very much are.
Good.
You're nuts, but you know, that's part of the reason why I love you.
If I wasn't nuts, I wouldn't go to this many conventions a year.
Yeah.
There was parking, you described the space with the different floors.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so as I say, ground floor, second and third floors have panel rooms, including their main event space, which is on the third floor, which I actually quite like their main event space. It's got an actual stage and tiered seating.
Except all the seating was stolen from a different theater because none of the numbers are in order.
Yeah, none of the numbers make sense, but you know.
Because like chair 1 was next to like chair 55 because we were sitting in the front row and was like, what happened with this? But it's fairly normal for theaters when they're being refurbished to buy chairs from other theaters that have been torn down. So I think that's just what happened, and no one bothered to put the numbers in order.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yep.
And again, it doesn't really matter. It's not like you have like. It's not like any of your tickets come with a numbered seat.
No, like there wouldn't be a purpose to having numbered seats for this generally. And
Yeah.
as evidenced by the fact that they're numbered randomly, I don't think they ever sell tickets that actually have assigned seats.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's mostly just confusing and funny.
But it is actually nice to have something on like a stage, because stage seating actually is designed such that everyone in the room can see it.
Yep.
Whereas if you're a lot of convention center spaces, they'll have like sort of a stage, but all the like theater rows will be entirely flat. So if you're in the back, it's hard to see anything if like it actually has that many people in it. But this, because it has recessed seating, actually works very well.
Yes. So yeah, like again, honestly, the Dayton Convention Center is a perfectly solid functional convention center.
Yes.
Not my favorite, but it works nicely for what it is.
It's not our favorite. It definitely works for smaller cons, though.
Yeah.
I think particularly well, and it has decent bathrooms, which is
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, the bathrooms are pretty good.
Including some gender-neutral ones and family ones if you need to change costumes on
Yep.
the fly.
Yep. Which you've had to do on occasion.
One time just to trick people.
Yeah, one time just to mess with people. That was a catacomb, not this year, but last year.
I had a pink and blue dress in the same color, so I decided, same style. So I decided to switch and do like a Sleeping Beauty thing.
Yep.
Like halfway through the day, just for funsies.
Yep. You got at least one person with that who was like, wasn't that just blue earlier? Or wasn't that just pink earlier?
Yep.
Yeah, so, that was an objective achieved.
Yay!
Yay. But yeah.
So you want to start shifting chronological now?
I'm assuming so. I think
Okay.
we've done the broad overview. So we went down on the Friday afternoon. I took a half day.
Mm-hmm.
So, ran home from work, got changed. We went with our easy ball gown.
Yep.
Which is our Hades and Persephone costume.
Yep.
So, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's the picture you're currently looking at, assuming you haven't minimized this to up screen.
And it was our first ever costume, and it's, I think, the costume we most identify with is just us, is that costume. So,
Yeah.
like, I have a backup, version of that dress made. I haven't put roses on it or anything yet, but I have a backup version just for when that falls apart or gets to the point where I can't, realistically wear it anymore. But
Yep.
I still have another one that I can, use.
Yep. Because we just love that dress.
Yeah.
Very us. It's very you. But yeah. So, again, quick and easy get ready, get on the road, 2-hour drive, or 2-hour and change drive. Get parked up, and yeah, so we got there at what? 3 in the afternoon, somewhere in that ballpark?
Somewhere around 2, 3-ish, I think. Stuff started at noon for some programming, but I think you wanted to do just a half day, and I wanted to do my lunch meeting, so we decided to get there a little bit later.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be a good thing.
Yeah, it turned out to be a good thing, because we were potentially going to try and get down there for noon for Gregor's game show, because Gregor was doing Wheel of Fortune at midday.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up getting cancelled.
It got moved. It wasn't
It got
canceled.
moved, yeah, I should say, because that was supposed to be in main events, and they did not have a screen set up in main events that you could project onto, which Wheel of Fortune kind of requires the screen in order for it to work. And there were a couple of other things in main events later that were using a screen, but it was kind of a little small and a little at the back, which made it hard to see. It didn't really matter for the panels we were in that were doing it, but it would have been a problem for Wheel of Fortune. And again, I don't think the con was that busy at that point, so I think moving it ended up kind of making more sense. So what was the first thing we did? We caught the tail end of opening ceremonies, I remember that, but we should probably talk about grabbing the badges. Badge pickup was simple and easy. We went into the registration space, and this is a good opportunity for me to complain about one thing.
Okay.
So registration was if you went in through the main doors, registration was on the left. Simple, easy to find. They had a bunch of barriers set up to basically funnel you into registration if you were coming in through the main doors, so that you would know exactly where you needed to go, pick up your badge, all of that jazz. That was fine, apart from one thing. The staircases over there. And if you're like us and can't use escalators because one of us is in a ball gown...
And can't use elevators typically because I get vertigo also because of disability stuff. Stairs are our preferred method of getting around.
It basically meant we were constantly having to navigate around those barriers rather than just being able to walk straight across. It was annoying and kind of an accessibility issue. It wasn't anything worse than annoying, but just
And I get when you think accessibility, you don't necessarily think that somebody's going to need to take the stairs, but with my disabilities, elevators don't work and the escalators don't work with my cosplay, so. And generally, I also just prefer stairs generally, so.
It's a relatively minor criticism, just something to keep in mind for next year. But registration process, clean and easy. Here's a QR code, scan, cool, here's your badges, thank you, job done. Quick and easy. Didn't require anything complicated. Then we went in.
Got the badges. And I will say a lot of this con is going to be just us talking to people. We did do a few events, but I will say just going into the con, I think 6 or 7 different groups of people said hi to us.
Yeah, we got recognized by a bunch of people at this one. Probably because, again, we've been going to this con for 4 years.
Yeah, and we know a lot of the regulars who were at it and stayed with it, so. And as a reminder, we don't typically say people's names unless we have permission. I will say Pop Culture Choreography and Wetlands Ninja were here. Their friend was also here. Their friend does not want us to say their name, so they will be referred to as friend. Also, friend, if you do listen to these episodes at any point and want an alias, we will give you one.
We'll just come up with the coolest fake name we can.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that without your permission. Because that would be wrong. We might refer to some people by their cosplays, though, just because we did talk to a lot of people this weekend. And
you kind of need a way to refer to some people sometimes.
So if we're referring to anyone, it will be by cosplays.
Yes.
So.
So we actually bumped into a couple of people we knew. Various people we knew, actually. Which
I might turn the lights on at this point.
But because again, it's a very friendly social con. It really is. And I suspect at this point a lot of the people who stayed with it through the drama are just the people who love it. Not exclusively. There are people who are just there to shop and all that kind of stuff. There are other people who stayed with it just because of how good the vibes are and how good the people are.
And that's something that's difficult to tell because they definitely also have picked up a bit of the Dayton population. And there's also, if they go to Columbus, the Columbus we've talked about this before. If there's a convention in the Columbus Convention Center, there's just a subset of people who live near there who will just go because it's in the Columbus Convention Center. It's a block from their house.
Which is valid.
So I think at that point, did we sign up for the scavenger hunt then?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's talk about the scavenger hunt.
I love this event.
I also love it.
I know that you liked it a bit better in the Columbus Convention Center just because it's a bit bigger.
It's a bit bigger, and so 2 years ago they did a scavenger hunt, and we signed up for that. And we had a lot of fun doing it. They didn't do one last year, probably because again last year's con was definitely a little scrambled. and they did it again this year. Now, 2 years ago, they used an app called Scava for the scavenger hunt, which I actually really liked because, like, you submitted your images, and there was a volunteer kind of on the other side of the app who would look at them and go, yay, nay, like, this fulfills the category, this doesn't. And you got, like, constant feedback, and they also, like, added more categories throughout the weekend. Like, for example, each day they added a new category for get a picture of yourself drinking water, because it's important you remember to hydrate at this convention. And you basically had to get a new one of those each day. Whereas this year, rather than doing it with that app, they were doing it through Discord.
Yeah, which had a couple flaws.
Couple of flaws.
One of which it was just very hard to know when you were getting feedback and what was counting for points and what wasn't counting for points, generally.
Yes.
Like if they were accepting stuff and what they were accepting, what they aren't accepting for different categories. Also, and this really shouldn't be an issue, but this weekend I think unfortunately was, other people can see what you're submitting, which shouldn't be an issue.
No.
It kind of was, though, at some point, but we'll talk about that later.
But we'll talk about that when we talk about the end of it. It was just a fixed list this year. Yeah. There was a list of 50 things that was just available on their website that you had to find throughout the weekend. So it was, some of them did have subcategories. So, for example, one of the categories was a costume with a 3D printed element was worth X amount of points. Or, alternatively, you could get a cosplayer completely decked out in 3D printed stuff, which was worth significantly more points.
Yep.
It was a little unclear whether or not...
It was unclear if you were supposed to do one or both, or if you could only do one of the options. And in fairness, we could have just gone to the info desk and just asked again. But if you've seen this podcast a few times, you know if there's a time when we could like go and ask somebody for help or clarification on something.
We're kind of bad at doing that.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah.
So I do want to say that they probably would have just clarified that had we asked.
Yeah.
But we didn't. And it was fairly easy to like... There were always people at the info desk. I never saw it not have people at it.
Yep, there was at least one person there, the entire time.
Yeah,
which is good. That means it's doing its job. But yeah, like signing up was relatively simple. Joined their Discord. They took a quick picture of us, set us up as I think we were Team 6.
We were Team 6, yes. To keep with Hades and Persephone.
Yep. And then we just had to go around the convention center and complete the list. Some of them were, pretty straightforward and easy.
Some of them were not, and I thought that was a good way of balancing it.
Yeah, I would say the balance was mostly good.
There's still a little bit of rules ambiguity about like whether or not all the pictures have to be at the convention center themselves, and whether or not you're allowed to use yourself for the pictures.
Yes, like again, one of them was a picture with a tall cosplayer. I'm 6'6" and I was in cosplay. Like, am I allowed to count myself? And little things like that, which again is where more feedback from that would have helped. And to be fair, you can do that just using Discord, even if it's just as simple as like liking and commenting the pictures as they come in.
Yeah, just put a check mark next to it or an X next to it. Maybe just give an explanation of why that thing was rejected, just so people can. Because if you don't do that, people don't know what points they have, and they might want to try again at a category if something's rejected for some reason. Yeah. So.
Again, just a little more feedback would have been nice, but I also get that if you want to do that, you kind of have to donate a volunteer to it the entire weekend.
Yeah, and I get that that's a lot. Yeah. And I will say this is still like miles upon miles better than
so much better than
other
most
scavenger hunts. Most scavenger hunts is just going around the vendors hall and scanning QR codes.
Yep.
And I mentioned this in the episode that was lost, but I want to mention it again because it's important, and I think that people need to know. There is no circumstance in which scanning QR codes is fun for any human being on the face of the planet.
This is a point at which we agree.
Yes.
Scanning QR codes just kind of sucks.
No one enjoys doing it. And again, those scavenger hunts are just so lame. So this is very cool. It gets us to take pictures and talk to people. Because a lot of these were like things from certain anime and stuff like that. And what this got me to do throughout the weekend was ask people about their costumes. Granted, that was because I was like looking for costumes from certain animes, but it got me to have conversations with people.
Yep.
And as a result of that, I did just take some pictures with people who we didn't even need for the scavenger hunt just because I enjoyed their costume, which I never do. Yep. And I love this event.
Yeah. Like, again, we really do enjoy the scavenger hunt a lot. And we, again, our quibbles are minor niggling quibbles.
Yep.
Like, is the best way to describe it. And the only real criticism I have of the categories is one of them was, there were two categories that I think were a little iffy, which was get a picture of a baby in cosplay and get a picture of a toddler or a young child in cosplay.
Yeah.
That one's a bit iffy purely because I feel really awkward going up to parents and saying, "Hey, can I take a picture of your baby?"
Yeah.
Like, I get that, the argument is just get a picture of the whole family, but that still feels kind of weird. So, maybe knock those two on the head next year.
A little bit, yeah. Just it would be a bit more comfortable because different parents have different rules about social media, and obviously, if you're taking pictures for like scavenger hunt generally, but also that sounds almost like a ploy to get a picture of someone's kid. If you're saying it's for a scavenger hunt, like obviously you could look it up and see it's on the con website, but again, just with different social media rules generally. We did get the toddler photo, but mostly because I was dressed as a princess on Saturday, and those kids were taking pictures of me voluntarily anyway.
Yeah, but it's mostly just when kids are that young, they can't really consent, and it feels a little iffy to be taking pictures of them.
Yeah, even if their parents are okay with them. We did get pictures of people who were under 18. They were kids that were old enough to be able to consent to the photo.
Yeah.
So, with their parents' permission also.
Yes. So. Yeah, so again, like, it's mostly just a case of, I'd be cautious of that one. Again, minor quibble, not a serious issue in any way, easily fixable. Just, those ones kind of weird us out a little. But, again, the main problem with this event is it kicks in your dang competitive instinct.
It's just so much. I don't get to do scavenger hunts that often, and I love them so much, and it's just so much fun. Also, I apologize to Bridget and James and Friend for running off when we were talking to them in the vendors hall several times.
Yeah, where it was just like, oh, we need that one. Sprint.
Yep.
Which, to be fair, they were helping by pointing out specific animes we didn't know, and we're like, oh yeah, that person over there is from that thing.
Yeah, Friend was super helpful this weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
So after that, we went upstairs. We talked to Grego for a bit. We will mention him just because he's an actual person.
Yep.
It's mentioned. Although even his name was kept off the schedule this weekend.
Yeah, apparently their panelists were getting some, some flaming online, which...
Or there was at least a worry about it. So.
Yeah.
And this is something we heard from panelists, not from anyone else, so we will report on that.
Yep.
And as a reminder, please don't say that no one is being harassed in the comments because you don't have access to 8 billion people's computer, so you can't therefore know if no one on Earth is harassing these people just because you weren't. So that's a very dumb comment to remark.
Yeah, unless you work for the NSA, you don't have enough knowledge to know whether or not people were getting harassed.
Yes. They were allegedly being harassed based on their own testimony.
Yes.
So, which is not great.
Not great.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But yeah. So at that point, I think we popped in and called the end of opening ceremonies.
Yes. Which is a pretty traditional opening ceremony. As we talked about this before, but opening ceremonies at cons are fine, but they're generally not an event that you actually need to go to generally.
Yeah.
That's true for pretty much all of them.
Again, there are some where I think it's definitely beneficial, but there's a lot where it's just do you need to go to this? Maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of on. In this particular one, we caught the tail end of it when they were basically just introducing their various celebrity guests, which was fine. A couple of them, they had some decent voice actors at this one. Who were, of course, dropping into character and doing the voices and that kind of stuff. So, come see the table and all of that jazz. Again, if you wanted to meet celebrities, I think it would have been a reasonable con to do it at. Because it hasn't fallen into the trap of becoming what we refer to as the celebrity petting zoo model of con.
I saw that in a Reddit comment when I was on the anime forums, or I think it might have been the GalaxyCon forum, which is the celebrity petting zoo model of con, which is what GalaxyCon and Fan Expo are.
Yep.
It has some celebrities that are big name, but they're not the main star, the main attraction. They definitely are having fun, but they're not why I think most people go.
Yes. But yeah. So what did we do after that?
We wandered around for a bit, said hi to people.
Yep,
we did most of that.
Yeah, got more photos for the scavenger hunt.
Mm-hmm. And then we did Anime or Politician.
Ah, yes. So Anime or Politician is an event we've done a few times now. We always forget the answers.
Mm-hmm.
The rules of Anime or Politician are very simple. They used to do this by getting volunteers from the crowd and then battling them against each other. They've switched to a Kahoot model. Which, pros and cons to each. You get a little more drama with audience members as contestants, but with a Kahoot quiz, everybody in the audience can participate. So, I think there are advantages and disadvantages to both models. I don't think either is like better or worse. I think they're just different, and that's fine. So the rules of anime or politician are very simple. You'll be given a quote, and you just have to say whether it was from an anime or said by a politician. And specifically, there are 3 rounds. The first one is anime theme songs or U.S. presidents. The second one is anywhere in an anime and U.S. political commentators.
You missed the Richie Sunak one.
Yeah, that's in round 3.
I know, you still missed it though.
Yeah, I know. And round 3 is anywhere in any anime against politicians from around the world. So anywhere in the world. And yes, they do include the Rishi Sunak resignation speech. It's great. I hated that guy. Actually, to be fair, I've hated basically every British Prime Minister my entire life.
Yep.
They've all sucked.
We're not a political... We do not need to even remotely open that can of worms.
Not opening that can of worms, no.
Political drama is even worse than whatever's going on with Ohayocon drama, like, by far.
Yep.
It's fun. We definitely have seen all the questions now, but it's a good format, and they did say they were going to switch it up soon. So.
Yep.
And I always enjoy it, like, and I always forget all the questions.
Yeah, the only one we really remember is the Herman Cain one.
Mm-hmm.
Where it doesn't matter if you say anime or politician because they use the time that Herman Cain quoted Mewtwo.
Yep,
it's
from the
hilarious.
First Pokemon movie.
Yep.
Which is hilarious.
Yep. But no, it's a fun panel. This was one where they were using that screen in main events, and you couldn't really see the screen.
Yeah.
Like they were trying, but again, fortunately, because everything was on everybody's phones because it was a Kahoot, it worked fine.
Mm-hmm. It was a real Kahoot.
Yeah. Oh,
I made that joke before.
Yeah, you did, and it wasn't funny the first time either.
You laughed at that comment.
No.
Yeah. So after that, we debated staying for late night stuff, which is interesting because that's the exact conundrum we're driving to right now.
Yep.
But I think, decided. So, like, it was interesting when the dealer's hall closed at 7.
Yep.
It was actually kind of hard to find the dealer's hall hours.
Yep. Actually, one thing I do want to comment on before we get to that, if you don't mind. So one of the things I did this weekend was I brought my Wild Bill's mug with me.
Yes.
And this is the con where I found out that actually Wild Bill's isn't as good as I thought it was. Namely, I was under the impression, because when I bought the mug, I got free refills all weekend. I was under the impression that when I paid a fee at a con, it was you pay your fee and you get free refills all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's daily. You pay your $10 and you can refill it as many times as you want that day, and then you've got to do it again the next day and again the next day. Yeah, that's $30 on soda. And don't get me wrong, Wild Bill's is pretty good soda.
It is, but most people don't drink $10 worth of soda a day.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm getting stiffed on that one. Now, if it was something like $10 a day or 15 for the entire weekend, okay, fair enough. That's reasonable. But yeah, $10 a day, I'm feeling a little bit cheated. I'm not going to lie.
In fairness, I do think it was explained to you that way. You just misunderstood it.
Yeah,
that's what I took it to be when it was explained to you at Con Alt Delete when you got the mug.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't want to be careful about critiquing small businesses, but I also, you've heard me rant about how Airbnbs aren't small businesses on this con.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good business model, but I ultimately think they would still make money if they charged a little bit less for refilled mugs.
Yes. But yeah, the other thing I was also going to say was, I had been planning to get some more that day at 7, after we got out of Anime or Politician, and the vendors all closed at 7, which we did not know, because while they had signage up with various things, I think the TV screen that was meant to be showing the hours that the vendors hall were open was broken.
Which is not on them.
No, it's not. That's on the convention center.
But they also didn't have it posted on the back of the badges, which I thought was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Normally, if you turn over the back of the badge, it says when registration in the vendors hall and a few of the other main areas are open.
Yeah, which that would have been useful. Maybe a note for next year, because I also couldn't find it on your dang website anywhere. So yeah, so that was a bit annoying because it basically made I paid $10 for one cup of soda, which kind of aggravated me. But yeah, back to our rundown in progress.
The vendors hall was closed at that point.
Yep,
it was closing up.
Closing up,
and it was interesting because it was, I would say, reasonably well attended that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
pretty crowded.
It was fairly busy up until the point at which the vendors hall closed, at which point it definitely thinned out a lot.
Which is interesting because they have a lot of late night programming at this con, similar to the one we're going to this weekend. But their demographic, based on what I've seen, is very, very different to what Sengawa Project is. So Sengawa Project, which we'll review in 2 days, hooray!
Yay!
Is a 18 plus con.
Yes.
Whereas this was mostly families.
This one skewed very heavily towards families.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing.
Not at all.
It did just mean that once you got into those late night hours, it got pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had been contemplating staying for some of the late night stuff, but it thinned out to the point where we weren't sure if like some of the late night events were going to make, and we were tired, and like we ended up opting to head home at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And based on conversations with other people, like one of Gregor's late night game shows did not make, purely because there weren't enough people there, and that's sad.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that does come down to, as a result of the change in venue, I think Dayton just has a different demographic vibe to the Columbus Convention Center.
We're still, I think, working to understand what that is.
Yeah.
Because I will say, when we got there at 10 the next day, and on Sunday too, like we were there at 10, which is when the vendors will open, and like there were lines to get in.
Yeah, it was busy during the day. It was definitely just thinning out quite aggressively at night.
But so it's one of the, like, it's legitimately one of the first cons I've been to, particularly in the anime bracket, where 10 o'clock is a time where there's more people there than like 8 p.m.
Yep.
Which is interesting. And not necessarily bad, it's just different. But honestly, I prefer that. So,
yep.
At least for this type of con.
Yep.
So yeah, we hung out with some people, and we headed out.
Yep. Which again, that was fun. It was nice to see those people.
Yep.
Then we got on the road, headed home. Got up at 6:30 the next day because we're idiots.
Well, we wanted to get there for a Ohayocon. Don't comment me. Actually, Julia, which was at 10.
That was at 10. So yeah, we would have got there about half an hour earlier, but I forgot my wig, so we had to go back because I don't drive with the wig on for obvious practical safety reasons.
Yeah, the wig was important to this costume because this was our first like big group cosplay.
Yes.
It was kind of coordinated, where there was a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cosplayer, including Bridget and James and Friend.
Yep.
And a couple other Yu-Gi-Oh cosplayers were there.
Doing Weevil and Merrick.
And we will say their cosplay names, but not their actual names.
So I was in my Maximilian Pegasus look, and you were there as the dead wife.
Yep. Cecilia, for those of you who can't remember her name, she has no lines and mostly just is either a portrait or is floating up in the air above Pegasus.
Yep, vaguely ethereal, ghostly figure to just remind the audience that despite the way he talks, Pegasus is not in fact gay.
He's very camp though.
He is very queer-coded because he is a villain from an early 2000s anime. But yeah. So I have a wig that has to cover half of my face because that's Pegasus's vibe. Actually, it was a brand new wig for this one. We were trying out a new one, which definitely worked. I think needs a little bit of styling and finagling just to get it to stay in place throughout the day a little better.
Probably just put some hairspray on it.
Yeah, I don't think it needs anything fancy.
But it did work for what you wanted it to do.
It did.
And it worked for the character.
Yeah, a few people knew what the character was.
Especially when we were in the group, everyone got it. So generally.
Yeah.
Although a bunch of people were pointing out we didn't have a Yugi or a Kaiba. Our group was all side characters.
Yep.
Which of course made everyone being okay, who else can we recruit to be a side character? We should just have a cosplay that has neither of the the main protagonist and antagonist in there.
Yeah, we were commenting on the fact that we need a Tristan.
Yep. So if you happen to like us and want to just wear a trench coat to a con, message us and we'll coordinate. Yeah, that's really all you need to be Tristan is a trench coat.
Yep. And your voice needs to change about 4 hours into Friday.
Yep. That's a joke for you Yu-Gi-Oh nerds.
Yeah, they're making me watch Yu-Gi-Oh now.
Well, like,
We're still in Duelist Kingdom.
Bridget and James are excited for us to watch more, though, so we need to get back to that after we finish the season of jet lag.
Yep. Again, this is the problem. We don't actually have that much time to watch that much stuff.
We really don't.
Because you keep us really busy.
And we're also behind, because of the surgery, we're also behind on 6 different other things.
Yep.
So anyway, we got there on Saturday at about, like, because we had to run back for your week, we were cutting it pretty close to 10.
Yep.
The line in the parking lot was about 6 cars just to get in, and then there were like 6 more cars pulled up behind us.
Yep. So yeah, I was a little concerned whether or not we get parked on the level that's really convenient for the Sky Bridge. If we'd had to gone up an additional level,
it would have
been fine. It's just, you know.
Like, I will say, it looks like that car park has more space in it than you could ever actually possibly fill the convention center with. It's
5 levels, and we've been there multiple times, and we've always managed to get parked on level 1.
Yeah. And that's not to say you couldn't fill more people in the convention center, but I can't imagine, like, with how many cars in that car park that, like, if the convention center actually had a convention where all of those spots were full, like, that convention center would no longer be functional given how small it is.
Yeah.
So
they over-designed the car park a little. Maybe they're just future-proofing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe thought the hotel would be a big draw.
Yeah.
So we got in pretty easily, already had our badges, and went pretty immediately to actually Ohayocon.
Yes.
I love this group of people. They did a great job with the style of trivia.
They really did. I still maintain I recognize them from somewhere, and I don't know where.
Yeah.
Again, it's probably some other con we've been to. Like, we thought maybe it was Techo, but they didn't have a clue what we were talking about when I asked them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, by the way, if you are listening to this and you want to go to Techo, you definitely should.
Oh, yeah.
In there fantastically.
Yeah, you would like Techo's vibes. But, so Actually is a game show that I've also run at cons. The basic premise of which is you are given a statement. That statement has something wrong with it. You have to buzz in and say, actually, and then point out what is wrong and give the correction. And this was done the way that most actually trivia at cons is done, which is if you buzz in and you know where the mistake is but don't know what the correction is, you'll get the point unless somebody else can give the the actual correction and be like more right than you are.
And if no one knows it, they throw it to the audience, which is always a great move.
Yeah.
And I will say, is a great style of trivia for cons generally, just because cons are for nerds.
And nerds love correcting people.
Yep. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. They had a bunch of rounds. It was a pretty small room, so like we both got to go up and participate generally.
Yep. And
I will say, I didn't know it, like particularly with anime cons, I don't know what the questions are going to be because sometimes people pick like very specific animes. This was mostly just kind of random fun stuff. I really liked the like genres that they went into with this.
Yeah, there was a bunch of all over the place stuff. Which,
they were talking about how the Grinch stole Christmas sequels and prequels.
Which I did not know existed, and I don't know if anybody else in the room knew existed prior to that.
Apparently, the Grinch bullies a boy in Whoville with eczema or something. That's a plot. That actually happened.
That's a thing. Everybody was like, okay, is the incorrect thing that he does that? Nope, that's real. Oh, God. Yeah, I know. But no, that was great. Like, we had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, like, again, I would absolutely go to this group's actually again if they do it again.
Yeah, they're very fun. And the prizes were exactly what they were supposed to be. Like, they had stickers for everyone who participated and, like, bracelets for people who won, which is exactly what they should be. And I got to hound you because you and I both went up.
Yep.
And then later when we weren't up, there was a round where you got to be publicly shamed.
Yeah. So one of the shiny bonus questions was you were given a list of names and you had to say if they were a Star Wars character, a Hideo Kojima character, or a British politician.
And I figured 2 of those you should know by heart.
Yeah.
You got 4 out of 8.
I got 4 out of 8.
And you were publicly shamed.
Yes, you basically said if he doesn't get 8 out of 8, is everybody willing to publicly shame him?
Yeah.
And the room did, in fact, publicly... Yeah, the room did point at me and yell, shame.
Which is just awesome when you get those moments at a con.
Yeah. I wasn't even supposed to be participating in that round. You just thought it would be funny to make me.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. But yeah. So, no, that was a good panel. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Struck about the right vibe in terms of actually trivia.
Actually, it struck the best vibe in terms of actually trivia.
No. So, that was not the incorrect thing in that sentence. So, anyway.
Actually, you're not actually British.
No, I very much am British.
Be a very good long con at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Long con.
Long con.
Oh god, that one hasn't been taken yet. There've been so many pun-related con names that have already been taken. LongCon probably wouldn't be taken as a con name just because you're gonna think it's a scam up until you get there, though.
Yeah, the problem with LongCon is I feel like it needs to be at least Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, so you're already committing to a very long con, so like that
Yep.
would be hard. So, like, with Con Alt Delete and Concoction, all the various other pun ones, I'm surprised that one hasn't been taken. But again, it's probably just because it sounds like a scam.
Who knows?
But if you want to start Long Con, we will support you.
Yep. What was next?
Then we went down to the dealer's hall to meet up with Bridget, James, and Friend.
Yep.
And also do more scavenger
Yeah, we did a lot of scavenger hunting.
And we bought a little stuffed dragon from one of the artist alley vendors for me.
Yep.
And we also met up with one of the vendors that was at AdamCon.
Yes.
Previously.
Yeah, we said hi to them. No, which was good. So yeah, and again, like we did talk to one of the vendors a bit later, and apparently they did pretty good business. Some of the other vendors, apparently did slightly less good business, which again I think is just kind of normal.
Now I know that cons are generally risky because you do pay for a table and you don't know what you're going to make back, but also keep in mind that like some vendors are selling like unique items and some are selling items that are already oversaturated in the market. So yeah, we'll talk more about that later.
Yep. Yeah, I can only see tables selling those 3D printed dragons so many times.
Yeah. And crocheting is a great art, but there's a lot of people who sell crochet right now.
Yep.
So
yeah, for whatever reason, there's been an explosion of crochet at anime cons. At cons generally.
It's another long con.
Yep. But yeah. So, we basically spent some time wandering around, getting lots of pictures with people for the scavenger hunt.
Did you go one episode without yawning?
That wasn't a yawn, that was a hiccup. I'm allowed to hiccup.
And then we went up to Press Your Luck.
Okay, this one's a yawn. So that was your fault.
No, it's not. You were already yawning.
You said the word.
Oh my god.
And I'm very suggestible. So yeah. So Press Your Luck is another one of Gregor's game shows.
Mm-hmm.
And this one we really like watching.
Yep.
But it's very, as would be indicated, it's very luck-based.
Mm-hmm.
So you answer questions in order to earn spins of the board.
Yep.
And like you can lose all your points, and like it's very, very fun to watch. But it's not one that I think we're interested in participating in, just because the luck mechanics kind of get to you a bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of strategy in when you like play versus pass your spins, and like there's a little bit of trivia at the beginning for answering questions, but it's not our game, so.
Oh, which is fine. It doesn't need to be. Like again, I very much enjoy watching this one because it gets super tense at a couple of points.
Mm-hmm.
And I love playing that up in the audience and just grabbing you and being like, "Hold me, I'm scared."
Well, this time they had it was very nice because Gregor typically doesn't allow family members to play together. We had a kid who was, I think, a little bit too young to be playing by themselves, and they let them play with their legal guardian, I will assume.
Yep.
And that was super, super cute.
It was adorable. The parent did most of the answering questions, and the kid did most of the pushing of the button to stop the spinner.
Yep.
Which was just adorable.
Yeah, it was very cute, and they wound up winning, so it was very, very cute generally.
Well, they had an advantage of 2 players.
Yeah.
It's not that much of an advantage.
It's not really at that game. Trivia is only part of it. The kid didn't answer any of the questions. Will you stop yawning?
I'm doing my best. Telling me to stop yawning does not, in fact, help me stop yawning.
I know. So then we had our first scheduling conflict, and we were commenting about this.
Yes.
Part of the problems was there's times when there was nothing on, and part of the problems is there were times when there were multiple things on that we wanted to do.
Which again, I know that the schedule can't be completely catered to us at all times, but there was 1 or 2 occasions where there were multiple trivia panels, or game shows, and trivia kind of opposite each other.
Yeah, they also had the cosplay contest and the drag show opposite each other.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about later. We support drag and believe that it's people's right to do it. It's not terribly entertaining for us personally to watch, even though we're happy that it exists at cons and people can experience it.
Yep.
But it is weird to have it opposite the cosplay contest because both of those are very popular events.
Yeah. So again, just a little bit of scheduling weirdness this weekend. Again, nothing critically bad. It's just, again, there was occasionally some things where we wanted to see 2 different things, and we could only see one of them because they were directly opposite each other. Mm-hmm. And then there were other times where we had quite a while to kill, and if we hadn't had a scavenger hunt to be doing, we might have gotten a little bored.
Yeah. And we're told that some events just didn't make due to scheduling issues, like Grego's panel's late. We know the formal ball didn't really happen. I think just because it wasn't well advertised. Before.
Yeah, just I don't think that many people turned up to the formal ball, which is a shame because the formal ball is usually fun.
I think part of the problem is they had it in what was called the movement room, which actually for this was
a good size.
Yeah, it was a very big room that actually had chairs and stuff you could actually use for classes and stuff like that. It's just, I think I've been burned because so many of the cons we went to have had a movement room that is just a normal size panel room without the chairs, and that's like not big enough to do most things.
Yep. Whereas this one was.
Yeah. Which I do appreciate.
Yeah, but again, like, that panel the ball was directly across from anime or politician. Which again, I get there's probably not that much crossover between those two things, but
I mean, that's crossover for us.
Yeah, true.
Anime for Politician is a very popular panel.
It is.
Given me slot time generally, so. It also is the movement room is like the end of the schedule, so because of that, it's the end of the schedule, or it's like at the very end of the scheduling page. So
yeah, which makes it a little hard to find. Oh, and no paper schedule of this con, which, given all the chopping and changing that ended up happening, was probably for the best, but I freely bet I would rather have a paper schedule because they're just super useful to be able to look at, whereas looking at a Google Doc on my phone to know what time stuff is, it's a pain. It's doable, but it's not great.
I mean, they did halfway, like on Saturday after the con had already started, they updated with an app that you could also use. We never bothered using it quite simply because I didn't see that they had even done that until Sunday when we were leaving. Like, oh, they added an app randomly on Saturday because that's not something I would expect to be looking for.
Yep.
I appreciate them trying. I do think that's something where they're still just kind of working out the kinks as they're moving into this new location. So, but I suspect it'll be better next year because I am already seeing a lot of improvements this year over last year.
And again, like this is definitely a con where they do take feedback. Like they have a feedback channel in the Discord. Which again, I will be posting this too.
Yep.
Would have posted it, a week earlier, and I'm sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, a week earlier, we also wasn't yawning as much.
Ugh.
I love you.
I love you too. Don't get on my case.
For the record, I think we had this last time. This is just how we banter. Like,
yeah.
We're not actually fighting. This is just like...
this is normal.
Like, at one point at this con, we saw somebody, because we were just in the board game room, just yelling F you at their spouse. I knew they were their spouse because of how they were yelling F you at them. I'm like, they're married.
Yep.
And they have a very comfortable and happy marriage.
Yep.
So after that, we went down and got food for a bit. We wanted to stay for Wheel of Fortune, which was, I think, in about an hour. But we also really, really wanted to go to Cosplay Court.
Yes. Which
is also sometimes called Anime Court. They're functionally the same thing.
Yeah. So we ended up going to Cosplay Court. And again, things we wanted to do opposite each other. But we decided on Cosplay Court, at least in part because several of our friends were also going to that. And we really like Cosplay Court. So there are two different groups who do this event at different cons.
I think there's probably more than two. Those are just the two that we encounter most because it's a fairly common and popular event. And this is what, because I know in-character panels at cons were popular for a while, then most cons kind of got rid of in-character panels because they're kind of boring to watch and they're about very niche animes generally. Cosplay Court is basically a way to have an in-character panel that actually works and is fun for everyone.
Yes. So the basic principle, so there are two slightly different ways of doing this. One of which is the audience decides who the defendant is, what the case is, and then they pull up volunteers from the audience to act that out.
Which does lead to fun comedy, because one time I think the defendant was a 1995 Chevy Impala or something.
It was a very specific car. I do not remember which car it was, but it was a very specific one.
Yep.
And again, that was fun and silly. Whereas the way that this group does it is they pull up a volunteer from the audience who will be in costume, in character. Yes.
I just be mindful of that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
In character, and then they pull up another person from the audience, or they accuse a person in the audience of a crime, preferably as silly as possible. That person comes up. That person gets to pick their defense counsel. Then the prosecution and the defense argue it out, interview the suspect, and then the audience votes to render a verdict. I do like this version a bit more. I think it tends to lead to like better arguments overall.
Mm-hmm.
Though I freely admit I do like the calling witnesses that the other version does.
Yeah. But the other one includes more people on stage generally. And this is an improv event, so like its success is gonna like live or die depending on the exact people who get called up. Generally,
Yep.
For the most part, the people who self-select for this, I do find know how to improv though.
Generally, yes. Again, it's one of those things that my only real criticism is I think it would be useful if the panel hosts did a run through first.
Yeah, I think it would be good if they had a first round where they were the ones doing it, just so you had an idea. Because generally, the first people doing it like are a little bit confused on what they're supposed to do,
or a little bit awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they threw it to us right off the bat, we know exactly what. Like we've done this panel multiple times.
Yeah, they recognized us.
Yep. Like we know how to do it. We know how to be silly with it.
Yeah, so if you want us to be your sacrificial lambs and go up there first, we're happy to do it.
We're very happy to do that. But yeah, so we did actually volunteer about fourth group.
Yeah, and you recruited JP.
Yep, I recruited JP specifically. I, as Maximilian Pegasus, accused Joey Wheeler of.
And then you realized you didn't actually have an accusation for him.
Nope, I did not. So I improvised, which that's what you're supposed to do in this, and accused him of faking his accent.
Which meant he had to fake an accent.
Which was hilarious because JP doesn't know. Again, JP is not quite as comfortable on stage as we are yet, and that's fine. Like he's not. You and I have been doing on-stage character work for a while now. He has not. But I deliberately told him before I called him up that I was going to do it, and when I did it, I told him to call you as his defense lawyer.
And I will say being the actual person who's being accused is fairly easy because you are just answering questions, so you'll be prompted for what you should say.
Yes. Whereas being the lawyer, you need a little bit more flexibility, which is why I wanted you as the other lawyer. And I think we did well. I think we put on a good show. It's interesting. The Weevil cosplayer was up the round before us, and he is very good at this event.
Although I think he thinks it's more about like winning your case, whereas we're mostly just trying to create an interesting story, which is fine. Those are just two different approaches.
Two different styles.
Yeah.
But again, he's very, very good at it. It's just I felt a little bad for the person who was playing off of because he steamrolled them.
Yeah.
Like again, it was funny for the audience. And I think everybody involved had fun. But whereas again, you and I had fun.
We have chemistry, so we can't just go up against each other generally.
Yeah.
And I'm aware that there are better arguments I could have given than like Joey is too silly or dumb to know where he actually is at any time, so therefore his accent is always authentic. But that was funny, so that's what I went with.
Yeah, your then counter argument was the authenticity of his accent isn't important compared to his knowledge of the card game.
Because it's about the heart of the cards.
Yeah.
I looked it back.
And I ended up having to answer a trivia question about Yu-Gi-Oh! Fortunately, it was one of the 3 things I know about Yu-Gi-Oh!
I was impressed you got the Pot of Greed question.
Yep. But yeah. So, again, this panel is a lot of fun. It does kind of live or die by the quality of the audience members who get volunteered for it. And there were definitely a few slightly awkward ones this time, but for the most part, everybody was good. Like I think everybody had fun.
It's one of those things. This is a low stakes event, and everyone's going to have that first time on stage. And I would much rather somebody be a little bit awkward and like have a successful first time on stage than them not volunteering at all.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Like, don't disagree with you in the slightest on that one.
And I want to emphasize, like, even though we are practiced on stage, we don't think like we're the best character actors ever or anything like that. It's just we're comfortable being on stage.
Oh, Yuki boy.
You didn't do that.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah. So yeah, again, this event is a lot of fun. We'd love it to keep happening. And yeah, I don't know if we've got too much more to say.
It's always one of my favorite events generally. I will admit I like participating more than just watching a lot of the time, but even watching when it's done well is amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've seen this event done a bunch, and it's almost always a hoot.
Like, I would run this at a certain point.
Yep. Yeah, but then you can't participate.
Oh, yeah, you can still kind of participate to help people out who might need a little help.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I'm also good at, I hope.
You are. That's the educator in you.
Yep. So after that, we knew we wanted to do the cosplay, what's called Expo, which is the same as the contest. For whatever reason, I will say this con has renamed a lot of events this year. I don't really know why,
Yeah.
but whatever. So that was at 6. We had a bit of an awkward time gap there.
Yep.
So I think, went around and tried to get more photos initially.
Yep.
And talked to Grego a bit.
Yep.
And some other people.
Yep.
And then we met back up with Bridget and James and Friend.
Yep. Who had to, at that point, they kind of had, because Bridget was in the Masquerade and JP was doing the walk-on contest, which we'll talk about more when we get there, they had to go in. So we hung out with their friend for a bit, or our friend for a bit. And we had a little bit of time to kill. So we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. And we opted to go watch a bit of the drag show.
Yep.
Because it was on.
It was on. We
And
sat
it was
in
a
the back
place to sit.
politely.
Yeah. And, okay. As we've said, drag, I do not have a problem with drag existing. It is a valid art form.
And I do think it's important for it to exist at cons because it's the only way that some people who want to access drag can access drag.
Exactly. It's just, it's not something that terribly appeals to us. We've been to it a few times at cons, and it's fine.
It's mostly just, this is a long version, I think, of saying just it's kind of hard for us to review.
Yeah.
Because
it's not our vibe.
It's just not our vibe generally. We don't, like, obviously the outfits are cool. I really like the outfits and the effort they're putting in. It's just, people kind of dancing just isn't very entertaining for me to watch.
Yep.
That's really about it.
I feel about drag the same way I feel about ballet. I can appreciate the artistry. I can appreciate all the work that goes into it. I can appreciate that a lot of other people are enjoying it. It's just not for me.
Yep.
And that's fine.
But it still should continue to exist because it's popular for a lot of people.
Exactly.
And a lot of fun.
It's not some great, moral failing or anything. It's just not to our personal tastes. And again, not everything has to be catered to our personal tastes.
And I will say they started less than 15 minutes late, which is for a drag show impressive.
That is very on time for a drag show.
So drag hours are quote unquote a thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so we stayed in that for 30, 40 minutes?
Yep.
Before meandering back over to where the contest was going to be held, which was in main events.
So there wasn't really a line for the cosplay contest so much as there was just people milling about generally.
Yes. And then with about 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, one of the volunteers kind of stood up, made their presence known, and announced that anybody with a disability access ribbon or bracelet should form up in a line because they were going to be allowed in the next couple of minutes. And this was the first we heard about accessibility wristbands.
I will admit I didn't check the website terribly hard. Well, I will also say that the website, at least the times I've checked it, has a bunch of policies. This is not unique to Ohayocon. A lot of cons are like this, where their policies, because their page is updated by multiple people, it's just kind of a long list of various things that may or may no longer be applicable. So it's kind of hard to manage a little bit. So I will say I didn't really check that much, but also I just wasn't expecting to need it because this con generally isn't such that there would be lines where I would need it.
So yeah, this was literally the only event this weekend where we would have needed any kind of accessibility thing.
And because my disability is invisible, I will say that I wouldn't have been directed to accessibility services when I was getting my badge, whereas a person who has a visible disability typically is.
Yes. So I basically just went up and had a quick word with the person who was attempting to corral the crowd, and basically just said, "Hey, we didn't realize we needed an access ribbon. What should we do?" And she basically said, "Okay, well, if you want to, you can join the back of that line, and we'll let you in. Kind of just before the main group gets going." And say, "Okay, thank you very much." Again. She hummed and hawed over it for a second, trying to figure out what to do, but I think she handled it about as well as I could have hoped for.
Which I do appreciate, but it's also something for which they should be a little bit more prepared for that, generally. Yeah. And it does still follow the same policy that a lot of cons follow, where they only let you take one person in with you.
Yes, which if you've got multiple people who assist you, that kind of sucks.
Or if you just are a family of 4.
Yeah.
That also still sucks. Because disabled people have family and more friends than that. And I get the impetus that you don't want somebody sneaking 17 people in, but I find using the honor system actually tends to work a lot better than just having it be like this hard and fast rule, because you're probably going to be hurting more people than you're helping with that.
Yes. Which again, your hearts are in the right place. Probably your policies, I think, still need a little bit of tweaking.
Well, this is just one of those things, as anyone with a disability knows how hard access is to get, that when you do get it, you try really hard to protect it and be fair with it, so that you don't cause problems for other people with disability later. Which is exactly what I would do if they did let me in with like unlimited people, quote unquote. Is like, I obviously would have let friend in with us because they were just with us at that moment, but I wouldn't like call other people in line up or do anything like that. Or, like, charge people money, quote unquote, to join me. That's illegal and wrong. Like, I wouldn't do any of those things.
Yes.
Because one, it's unethical, and two, I would want to like protect the integrity of that to make it easier for other people with disabilities with families, which is anyone who struggled with a disability would try to follow that as best as possible.
Yes, I would agree with that. But yeah.
It was like mildly annoying, and they did say we could save seat for friend, so we just did that.
We just did that. And again, like, we got a decent seat, and they let everybody else in like 2 minutes after that, so it was fine. And there were enough seats. Like, it wasn't standing room only, but it was pretty full.
Yeah, it was pretty crowded. It
was probably like 75% of the room full, something like that.
The front rows were there, yes.
Yep.
And this contest was, do you want to get into that yet?
Yes.
So yeah, this contest was divided into 3 categories. So we had performance.
Yep.
We had construction, and you had
walk-on.
Walk-on, basically. And walk-on was like a non-judge way that you could just get up on stage and show off your costume, which I really love it when cons do this.
So do I. And yeah, I will also say this contest did some stuff that I think is really good, and a couple of things that I'm not a fan of, and we'll kind of talk about them as we go through each section.
Although, as a reminder, we always believe that people who won deserve to win.
Yes.
Yeah. No one deserves to have that taken from them.
Absolutely. That was not what I was going to say. So yeah. So one thing that they do that I actually really appreciate, they have separate judges for performance and for construction.
Yes.
They had 6 judges, 3 of whom were performance judges, 3 of whom were construction judges. Thank you for that. Like, we have been to so many cons where they just make the construction judge double dip, and with the best will in the world, they're experts in cosplay construction, not in performance, which means they frequently don't really know what they're looking at to judge when they are attempting to judge masquerade performances. And that's not that's not me implying they're subpar. It's just, again, they have training in one specific area, and that's fine. I'm not going that. But yeah, so this had 3 judges for each section. They started with Masquerade, and Masquerade only had 5 entries, which I think is a shame, because we checked the website, and they were supposed to give out... What were they supposed to give out?
I think they were technically supposed to give out judges' awards. There was definitely awards for both musical performance and skit.
Yes.
And there might have been a couple other things, but that was the main thing.
Yeah, and then I think there was a best in show as well.
Yes.
Masquerade.
And we were hemming and hawing about entering this. We didn't enter it last year or for a while, but like the main reason we wanted to enter it is because we have entered it before in the skit category, and they didn't give out an award that year. And I'm like, I suspect they're not going to give out an award for skit again this year. So
because they just didn't get enough skits.
Yeah, and my issue with that is, like, I don't enter, like, when we do enter, like, performance competitions, I never do it to, like, win. I don't need to win. It's mostly just, I don't want to look like an idiot because I'm the only one up there who's, like, doing spoken monologue type stuff when everyone else is singing and dancing, because it just looks kind of lame next to everyone else, especially if you're not even recognized for doing a different skill set. So...
Yep.
If there were more skits, I would be happy to, like, lose to other skits. But the fact that they don't even give out a skit award was because there was one skit.
That was a skit.
Kind of sat wrong with us, because you're not going to encourage more people there to do skits, which is a whole other type of performance, if you don't give out that award.
Yes.
Like, yes, I know there was only technically one person who could have won that category, but you still should have just given them the award.
Yeah. And again, so what they ended up giving out was a best in show masquerade, best in show performance, and a runner-up. Which, again, I'm not complaining about the people who won. They were very good. They deserved to win. But it does... I always kind of hate it when cons don't give out all the awards they say they're going to.
Yeah, we've been burnt by that before. That's part of why we stopped competing in masquerades and stuff like that, is because we prepared stuff for certain categories, and multiple times. This hasn't just been one con where there was like, "Oh, you're the only one who entered that category, so I guess you can't win anything." I'm like, I worked on this. Like, I prepared it specifically for that category, and I felt safe doing this here because it was in that category. And now you're saying just because I happen to be the only one who showed up and put in the work, I don't get to win.
Yeah.
And that also, again, means that other people who want to do that type of work aren't going to do it because they're not going to say, "Oh, that's a category," when they see you being given out the award, which is lame.
Yeah.
And just kind of, I think, irritates us a little bit about masquerades when they do that.
It does.
And at the very least, I do think, I suspect they didn't do this based on what we said, that if you are changing up how you're giving out awards, that needs to be done transparently.
Yep.
And it needs to be told to all contestants before they do their performance.
Yes.
Or
again,
stage.
They knew going in they only had 5 entries. They knew they only had 1 skit. Like, they should have told the performers during rehearsal what they were doing in terms of the awards.
Yeah.
Whereas the performers did not find out until the rest of the audience did when they were about to give out the awards. And that just kind of sucks. So, yeah. It's one of those things about Cosplay Masquerade that does still kind of annoy us quite a lot.
Yeah.
But, again, it is what it is. So, after the 5 Masquerade performances, the Masquerade judges got up and went away to go have their conversation.
Which is the right order to do things in. Performance first, because they actually have stuff to judge, whereas construction is typically pre-judged, so they should just have stuff ready. Maybe they need to sort a couple judges' awards, but that's about it.
Yes, because some of them, some of them do include like stage presence towards the construction. Some of them don't. Judges' awards can be given out for whatever the heck they feel like. So, if you serve particularly hard on the stage, they might go, "Oh, heck yes, I love that. I'm going to give you a judges' award." You're never quite sure.
And this actually was a fairly, with performance, I didn't know what to expect, but there were about, I think 50-ish total cosplayers just competing.
That was a lot. And this was split into the standard categories. Novice, Journeyman, Masters. And youth. They did have a youth category, which was
surprisingly, normally at cons,
busy,
there's maybe 2 kids in the youth category, one of whom's just a baby who didn't make their own costume.
Yep. If they were a baby that did make their costume, I'd be impressed.
Cabbage. Throw. No one gets that joke about us, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But this one actually had a decent number of kids who made their own costumes.
Which again, I think says something about how their demographic has shifted as a result of this move. Because they definitely had a lot of families with kids at this con. So the kids entered, and that's fine, and cool. I'm happy to see. A little bit of dodgy traffic because we're getting close to Pittsburgh, which I expected this.
A little bit concerned about the cops, but
yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so where were we? Oh yeah, so youth categories. I can't remember. Was it under 15 or under 16?
I think it was under 18. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't remember for certain. But again,
then novice. A lot of places do their novice categories differently, which is in this case that was just what any award. It generally depends on the size of the competition, like how many awards you have to be bumped out of novice, and what awards count, and stuff like that.
Yep.
So.
Then Journeyman, which I think they said between 2 and 5 awards. And then Masters is more than 5 awards. They didn't actually have any Masters at this event, which that happens sometimes. Again, there aren't actually that many people who can enter Masters level cosplay, just because winning that many awards is hard.
Yeah, and this is a smaller con, it just is. So because generally you have to retire a costume once you've won a major award, a lot of cosplayers will save the big bombastic for very, very big cons, just so they can win a bigger award. Not that this is a terribly small award, but it's a smaller-ish con, so they might want to save it for a bigger con that has more awards and stuff at it.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah, and I will say some cons are at least starting to be a little bit more forgiving about that policy, whereas if you've already signed up for a contest if you already signed up for a cosplay competition and then your costume has to win at a previous con, you can still enter it in that competition.
Yeah.
You do have to disclose, I think, that you've won, just so judges can take that into account. But you can still enter it, which is nice.
Which is good. But yeah. So, I forgot one thing I wanted to mention. The host for this show, I think, was doing a good job. Even if the entire time he was on stage, I could not help but think of him as Sam Reich from Dropout. If you got him on Timu, which I know is harsh, but
sorry about the ambulance.
Just getting out of the way of an ambulance. There we go.
Yeah, probably. We did not mention we recorded this in our car, but I'm sure you picked that up.
Yeah, you probably figured that out. But yeah. So, at that point, once everybody had walked, the construction judges got up and went off to do their deliberation, and that's when they did their walk-on. And the walk-on, from the audience point of view, is very similar to the construction contest, because it's basically walk across the stage, strike a pose, walk to the middle, strike a pose, walk to the other side, strike a pose, walk off. And they let people, write their own intros that the host was reading off, which love it when they let people do that. And the main difference is just the walk-ons aren't judged in any capacity. They are just there to show off their costume. Like maybe it's a thing they've just bought. It doesn't fulfill the rules of craftsmanship. They think it looks cool at a distance, but don't want somebody like flipping up the seams and looking at it. Like, I like walk-on contests.
I do too, and like some people might just not like the contest part of costume contests. I don't sometimes, I'll admit. Sometimes it's just nice to not worry about competing and just be able to show off your costume, even if you made everything by scratch.
Yep. I would wholeheartedly agree with you.
Especially with how ridiculous cosplay rules tend to be sometimes.
Yeah, they can get a bit weird.
So yeah, it's really nice that they have this. I could tell, especially for this group, there were a lot of people who was one of their first times on stage ever, and they were just having fun.
Yep.
A couple of people's parents were cheering. It was just a very, very fun experience.
It was. But yeah. So by the time the walk-ons were done, the judges were ready to announce the winners, which is good because it means nobody had to vamp.
Nope. And I will say this was about the right length. Like, this is what I like for a cosplay competition. This was about an hour and a half to 2 hours, which is about what it should be.
Yep. Yeah, it had a 2-hour time slot. I was initially worried again when they only had 5 masquerade entries that it was going to end up being very, very short, but they had a lot more construction than I was expecting, which meant that it kind of ended up balancing.
Yep.
And it ended up being, it was a good show. But yeah, so at that point they announced what they were going to do with the masquerade winners, which still not massively happy about that decision. I'm not going to be, I'm going to be honest. Like it.
And we want to be clear, that's not who won. That's the amount of awards that they gave out. Yeah. How they did it.
Like again, if you say you're going to give out like half a dozen awards on your website, only giving out 2 feels a bit sucky.
Well, we can't just have everyone win.
Why not? Seriously, just give everybody an award for something. Like, you can be brutally honest and say, hey, we were anticipating a few more entries, so we've actually got a lot of awards to give out, so everybody's going home with something today.
Yeah, it's like fun, and that'll get more people to sign up next year, because they'll feel like they actually have a good chance of getting an award.
Yep.
It's nice.
But and then they gave out the the awards for the construction contest, which was Judge's Choice. So each judge gave out their own personal Judge's Choice Awards. Then best in the best novice, best journeyman, and best youth, and then best in show.
Yep.
And because they didn't have any masters, they did not give out best masters.
Well, that's fair.
That's fair. Like, I don't.
If you legitimately have no one in a category, then you shouldn't do that. But if you had one master, if they weren't going to win best in show, like, they've already worked that hard to get there. At least honor their costume.
Yeah. Yeah. Which again, there are good ways to handle that and bad ways to handle that.
Yeah.
Like with the construction contest, you handled it fine. Like, you didn't have anybody in the masters category, that's okay. Like, sometimes we've seen cosplay contests that have like a best prop category that nobody officially entered, and they just decided, okay, we saw some cool props while we were judging the other category, so we're going to give out best prop to the person we saw who we thought had the coolest prop. That's fine. But I appreciate not wanting to like bump a journeyman up to master just for the sake of doing it. So yeah, not giving out that award, perfectly fair and reasonable. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the person who won best in show absolutely deserved it. That costume was great.
I loved it so much. The pockets.
It was a Rococo themed take on Loki.
Yep.
That's just great.
And yeah, I've seen them. We were talking just because we happened to be outside and we were comparing ball gown game. I was asking what they had under it and how they built it and stuff like that. And they were really nice. So very happy with one.
And again, they had pockets in that dress that were large enough that they had a can of energy drink in one of them. Like, come on. Even I'm impressed by that. So yeah. So that was the cosplay contest.
Yep.
Do we have too much more to say on it?
No, they did have a feedback session on Sunday, which I do appreciate generally, although I will say cosplay competitions, because I know Bridget's pointed this out, not everyone stays for Sunday, so not everyone can get feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like we've attempted to go to them when we used to compete a little bit. The waits are very long.
Yeah, they can be very long, especially if you're trying to talk with construction judges.
Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong, we know they can be useful for some people.
Yeah.
Like there are, one of the things the judges will frequently tell you is that they've had people who came to the to their feedback panel, got feedback on their costume, and then the next year came back having made changes to how they do costuming based on the feedback they've got, and ended up winning something. So it can be useful if that is your bag. It's not out.
Yeah.
No. Because again, we weren't competing, so that wasn't a panel we would go to.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. Oof. You okay?
Yeah, stop start.
Yeah, sorry about that. Again, joys of traffic heading into Pittsburgh. Especially when it's snowing again. Stupid snow.
Then we hung out with the Yu-Gi-Oh gang, I think, more.
Yep. I think this is when we got our big picture.
Yeah, we got a big picture. We also just hung out until the food court area, food truck area closed.
Yeah, which I think was 8.
Yeah, but this was our first group cosplay, at this level, and this was a lot of fun, just to kind of be in this big group cosplay with people who had to get it and recognize it and talk to us about the characters.
Yeah. And once again, you have cast me as an evil, unsuitable man.
You've seen the show. Who would you cast yourself as?
No, it's fair. I mean, I'm tall enough to be Tristan, but Tristan has no personality.
His personality is explaining the plot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. I know you don't like the stop-start.
It's okay. Should we get off here, or do you want to keep recording? Because we're going to be into downtown soon.
Yeah, well, we're heading into downtown, so this is probably a good point to pause the recording. We'll pick it up on the way back with kind of the rest of that day, and then we'll probably finish out the episode, I would assume, on the drive back.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for listening, and see you in a moment. And we are back.
We're back. It's actually the next morning. Long story.
Yeah, driving home in a snowstorm wasn't the best idea, so we had to do it slowly and carefully. But we made it home fine.
The only way you should drive in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Also, this is one of those freak ones that no one knew about until it was actually happening. So.
Yeah, I think we had half an hour's warning, maybe. So, yeah.
I feel bad because this wasn't as good as the original podcast we recorded, but it's fine.
Again, it's always frustrating whenever you lose work like that, but
Yeah. It happens.
It does.
It's not like we don't spend enough time in the car.
So. Exactly. But yeah, so I believe we basically just left Saturday.
Yeah, I think we left Saturday. I tried to end it, so we left on Saturday, and then we.
Yeah, because we hung out with our friends, the Yu-Gi-Oh group, for a little bit, got a bit of food, and then skedaddled, which was good.
Yep.
Nice to see all those people. And then, got on the road, drove back, got up at stupid o'clock in the morning, drove over. Again, Dayton, I think we are pushing it with how far we can practically do without getting an Airbnb, but I think we really do need to start basing that on how early the con starts and a bunch of other stuff.
How late we want to stay and all that jazz.
Yeah. But we figure it out. We figure things out as we go.
It is cheaper, though.
Yes.
So we got there pretty early, even for Sunday. A lot of people were getting in at 10-ish also. We're not the first car in the parking lot. Less crowded than Saturday, but still decent numbers, I would say.
Well, again, we did also get there about half an hour earlier. So, I suspect that was a factor. But, again, Sunday was also a decently busy day.
Yes.
Not as busy as Saturday, but again, that's true of every con ever.
And what were we wearing?
What were we wearing?
You were wearing your Supernatural cosplay.
Oh, yeah, it's my Supernatural cosplay, by which I mean I put in my funky red contact lenses, dressed normal, and went as a Crossroads demon. Because by that point, we were just trying to pick up any last points in the scavenger hunt we possibly can. And one of them was a character from the live-action TV show Supernatural. And we did establish ourselves a personal rule
Yes.
that we were going to follow, which was if we were doing that and actually dressing ourselves up specifically to get points in the scavenger hunt,
We would offer ourselves up for photos for anyone else who wanted points in the scavenger hunt.
Which we did end up doing.
Yes.
Yeah, we did bump into another group who mentioned to us that they were also doing the scavenger hunt, and we basically did say to them, "Hey, if you want a picture with me to count as as the character from Supernatural, absolutely fine. We'd be happy to help you out with that category." And they said thank you.
See, yeah, I was obsessed with finding a robot because we still needed that category.
Yeah, I did not think we would find a robot.
We found a robot.
We did indeed find a robot.
I was dressed in my just kind of separate dress, which is like a top, which is a short dress, and then a skirt underneath, which hoops, so I can still have my hoop skirt game. But also, we wanted to go, I think, to dinner to celebrate having a good surgery after this. Yep. So we decided to do that and make sure that I had an easy dress to travel in.
Yep.
Plus, we needed to pick up our prizes from AtomCon, because apparently if you put one ticket into each thing, that somehow works as a strategy sometimes.
You may, in fact, win stuff.
Including one thing you're pretty sure you didn't put tickets into.
I genuinely don't know. Like, my guess is what happened is I put a ticket into that cup thinking it was a different cup.
Yeah, I think that's more likely than them messing up. Like, I think it's more likely. Assume that we messed up.
Yeah, that makes more sense. But hey.
Like, it's cool. Like, it's cool to win stuff. So
yeah, and again, we'll figure out something to do with that prize. There's a non-zero chance it might get donated to MCFC in a week.
Well, yeah, and using a charity prize to gain more money for charity is always a great idea.
Yep.
So.
Because they need stuff for their charity.
And it is a squirrel-themed Magic the Gathering set, so.
So that is definitely a thing that I feel like the furries would appreciate.
Yeah.
Because a lot of furries are both card game nerds and, well, fans of squirrels. So. Anywho. But yeah, so that was what we needed to do kind of later that day, so that kind of informed our costume choices. What was the first thing we actually did?
That was, we walked around for a bit getting photos, and then we went to concentration.
Ah, yes. This was, again, another Grego show.
And I will say part of the problem with, like, sometimes because there wasn't a schedule up immediately, I think him and a couple other people were hurt by the fact that a lot of panels didn't actually have descriptions associated with them. So I know Concentration is a game show because I'm a game show nerd. But if you're just a casual game show fan,
you probably didn't know.
Because Concentration is an older game show. It's not like Wheel of Fortune or Deal or No Deal or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where like everyone knows those.
Yeah. Again, because normally on the schedule, all Grego stuff is listed as Grego's game shows, whatever the particular show is. But I think I'm unclear whether it was his call or if it was the con's call.
I'm pretty sure it was the con's call because he actually has been advertising.
Yeah, very deliberately to not have people's names in like panel, just in the easily accessible panel descriptors. Mostly, again, to try and avoid people being harassed. Once again, I would like to remind you, don't harass people for going to a convention. It's just a dick move. But yeah, so we went to this. We weren't sure if it was going to make or not, because I think this one needed 3 people.
Yep.
And there was...
Well, it needed 2 people.
What? Just need 2?
Yeah, it just needed 2 because there were 2 people facing off against each other.
Oh yeah, it was the next one that...
Needed 3.
Needed 3, yeah. But yeah, so once again, I ended up taking part. Oh, and I had fun with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one with the Rebus puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Rebus puzzle where you're basically guessing numbers. I will say this is a nice one to play if you just like Rebus puzzles and aren't terribly great at anime, because you don't actually have to answer any questions.
Yep.
You just have to memorize stuff, because it's the game Concentration, which is basically where you flip over 2 tiles and try to match them.
Yep.
And you just go back and forth. There's some steals and wild cards on the board, and if you win, you get to keep your prizes. So. Yep. We both actually played this one.
We did, because again, there was enough time for a second game.
Yeah, there were 2 couples in the room, and we just had them face off on each other for both games.
Yep.
Both of us won 1 game each, which I think is a great way to split that.
Yeah.
So
it worked. I had fun.
Yeah.
Your puzzle was a lot easier than mine.
It was. I got Spy Family.
Whereas I got Blue Box.
Yep.
I've never heard of Blue Box. Also, none of us could identify the picture of an ox that was on screen.
Yeah, ox looks like a lot of other animals. That looks more like a yak than an ox, but you know.
People were like, yak. I was looking at it like, bison plus B? What? The bison? What?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But again, that was fun.
It was. If you're not familiar, rebus puzzles are basically like pictures that are meant to tell puzzles. So, for instance, if you want to do play ball, you would do a picture of like children playing and then a baseball to get play ball, stuff like that. They're fun to kind of solve on your own generally. So, and I was proud of solving Spy Family. It was really easy, but
again, you had a picture of some pie and an S.
yeah.
That's the thing. Myself and my opponent accrued a lot more prizes, whereas you got the puzzle much faster.
Yeah. Well, it was an easier puzzle, so like the risk with that, if you don't solve it, is your opponent might get it. So
yeah. Which again, it's a fun game. I think it worked pretty well for a con.
Yeah.
And again, Gregor continues to be an excellent host. I just wish he'd had a bit of a larger audience.
Yeah. So after that, we had about a half an hour break.
Yep.
So we tripped around. I think that's when we got the photos with the people in the dealer's hall.
Yep.
We were also talking to some vendors that we knew at that point in time.
Yep. Which again is when we kind of had the conversation about the fact that stuff had gone pretty well for them that weekend. And there apparently was some mild behind the scenes controversy where I think there were some accusations that somebody had been using AI generated stuff.
And I don't
know enough details to speak definitively on it.
And this is part of the problem is I'm sure Ohayocon, like most cons, has anti-AI policy generally, but it's very hard to enforce.
Yeah.
Obviously they say you can't use AI on your website and you're bringing AI stuff anyway, you're just kind of a shitty person, but I'm sorry that cons have to be in the position of now enforcing this.
Yeah.
And weird AI hellscape we now have that no one wants.
Again, generative AI sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should use it. So yeah. And again, our voices are definitely getting scraped for it.
Yeah. So hi, random robot.
Hi AI. Anyway. So yeah. So what was the next thing?
We talked to those people in the hall a little bit, and they were asking how we afforded conventions, which is a question we actually appreciate.
We do. And the honest answer is we are working professionals without kids who live in a low cost of living area.
And we just don't spend money on other stuff.
Yep.
This is what we do on our weekends.
Yep.
And we actually do maintain that cons, in terms of value per dollar, are pretty good, because for generally anywhere from $60 to $120 for the high one per ticket, you're getting 3 days worth of entertainment where you don't have to spend money on pretty much anything else but the con.
Apart from food.
Yeah. Which is, pretty reasonable given that concert tickets are more than that and other stuff.
Yeah,
so.
and those are frequently only a few hours.
Yeah.
We've realized that the convention we're going to this weekend is actually opposite a monster truck rally.
Yeah.
And I'm genuinely curious to know what all the people going to that are paying, because I would not be surprised to find out the prices are probably similar,
if not more.
If not more. Because actually, this con's quite cheap.
Yeah.
I know cons that charge more for a 1 day badge than this one is charging for a 3 day badge.
Yeah. We're not talking about this con. That's next
I
episode.
know. That's next episode. But anyway, that's a tease for next time.
I mean, Ohiocon's tickets also, I would say, were not terribly expensive. I think they were about $65, and that we bought late.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. We generally do tend to buy tickets fairly late, just because if you buy early, you do risk that you're not able to go a lot of the time.
Yeah, but there are some that we get early. But generally speaking,
the ones we get early are mostly tabletop ones where we need to sign up for events.
Yeah. Something like Origins, we get those tickets early purely because we know that we're going to go to Origins and we want to make sure that we can sign up for events on the day when event sign-ups open. Whereas, you don't need to sign up for specific things at Ohayocon.
Yeah.
Because that's just not the kind of convention that it is, and that's fine.
So after that, we went up for Sale of the Century.
Yep. Which again, another Gregor's game show. This one's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is very rapid trivia questions about anime and stuff like that. Whoever answers the fastest gets money. It's a bit more competitive insofar as you lose money if you give a wrong answer a lot of the time.
Yep.
And they have some bonus categories where they start describing a thing and you have to buzz it as quickly as possible as you get more information about the thing.
Which weirdly I was good at.
Yep.
I was hot garbage at the regular questions. I think I won 2 out of the 3 of the the describer thing questions, including getting one really early.
Yeah.
I was proud of myself for how early I got the baseball question.
Which was awesome.
Yep.
Most of the game wasn't really that competitive just because we had one person there who clearly knew and loved anime, and two people, one of which I think was their first time competing in anything, who
Yep.
was...
I think she said it was her first con.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got smoked, but again, it was fun.
Yep.
You know, and I don't mind losing to the superior anime knowledge haver in that category. Because again, like, I really like taking part in Gregor's game shows, but I'm also not an anime fan.
Yep.
Which means I tend not to do too well at the trivia ones.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that random Reddit commenter that claimed, like, there's a difference between people who are, like, competitive in game shows and those who aren't. There's some people plan all year to train for con game shows. I'm like, no.
Why?
There's not. We've been to a lot of cons.
That's just weird.
Generally, it's mostly just people volunteering there. Like, people don't rehearse this at home. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. I suspect there are a couple of weird people who will do that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Squishy. But yeah. So again, this one's fun. Yep. Nice and straightforward.
Yeah. Gregor was commenting that it was opposite a couple other game showy type things.
Which again, definitely a few schedule weirdness issues with this convention, but again, like, that's not that unusual.
Mm-hmm.
That happens at a lot of cons. And again, as we pointed out, no con can base its schedule purely
on us.
What we want to do.
Wish that they did, though.
It'd be nice. But, we are not, in fact, the most important people at the con.
No. Yeah, we had fun doing this. Then we talked to Gregor for, I think, a good, half hour afterwards.
We talked to him for a while. This is why we got the robot.
Yeah, we did.
Because, you really wanted to find a robot.
Mm-hmm.
And, you mentioned that to Gregor's wife. And
yep.
Like, I think we might have one.
Yep.
I just went searching through their boxes of stuff to to find this one. And yeah, it was a little, yapping dog toy thing that, moved and, barked and stuff. And, yeah, hey, that's a robot.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was your white whale for the day.
Basically.
After that, what was that after that?
We wandered the dealer's hall one more time.
Yep.
We
snagged the last couple of photos. We got, so our friends did manage to find a free run cosplayer.
Yep.
Which we've been hunting for all weekend without success. And sent them to find us. Mm-hmm. And then
they were like a kid and their mom, by the way, which was adorable.
It was adorable. But yeah, they basically ended up going up in the lift as we were coming down the stairs, and they caught a glimpse of us. But we ended up we did manage to find each other.
We
eventually.
did.
Yeah, we got the picture with them, which was very cute.
Yeah.
And then that was about the 2:00 mark.
Yeah, and we were, I think, a bit worried, because we needed to pick up the stuff from AdamCon, and we wanted to go get dinner. So there was closing ceremonies and I think a quick feedback or question panel. Yeah. But we were kind of fading fast. So it was an awkward hour, 2 hour break. And we kind of wanted to have food, but the problem was that we didn't know when they were going to announce stuff for the scavenger hunt.
Yes,
so
we were under the impression we'd have to wait until closing ceremonies to get the scavenger hunt stuff announced. So we were figuring we'd end up hanging around a bit. So we just, we broke out one of our board games, broke out So Clover in the hall. Then they made us move because they were starting to pack up the board game thing. With,
this is one category is they were packing up the board game stuff, I think, before the library officially closed. And there were people, because we had to go to the information desk a little bit later, who were asking if they could still buy tickets around the 1:00 mark, just to I guess go into the dealer's hall generally, which is, and I think registration had closed by that time. So yeah, they might need to expand that a little bit on Sunday.
Maybe. But again, my assumption was they figured, well, nobody's going to buy tickets with 2 hours left of the con. But
apparently people want to. For some people, the con is just the vendor's hall.
Yeah.
And Sunday tickets are relatively cheap, so they just go on last time on Sunday to see if they can get good deals because people don't want to take the stuff home. Which
sometimes that works. Again, if you want to haggle with vendors in a vendor's hall, Sunday's probably the day to do it. Mm-hmm. We generally don't, just because my attitude is, I would rather pay somebody what I think what they think they're worth. So I don't try to haggle.
And it's worth noting not everything in the vendor's hall is artisanal goods. Some of it is stuff that people just import and sell, which is fine. That's a business, but it's still a market for which there's stuff. There was somebody in the vendor's hall who was offering people to help with teardown, and they would pay them in merch. So I guess that's something you can volunteer to do if you just want to volunteer for free merch and you got free time.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, we sat down. We got moved to a different table because they were closing the board game library, which was kind of annoying. And then one of the other groups who'd been doing the thing congratulated us on winning.
Yep, they were the team that we got a supernatural picture with before. And we're like, winning what? And they're like, they posted that you won in the Discord server.
Yeah, so I actually checked my phone at that point, and they had indeed posted that. What was it, Team 6 and Team 12?
Team 6 and Team 12. And, like, thankfully, this has actually now been deleted now, so I feel fine talking about this team because you guys aren't going to know who they are.
Yeah.
Which is good. But, yeah, they were a team called, I think, Anime Girls.
Yep, which appeared to be 3 very masculine-coded men.
Valid.
Like, that's a solid joke, no notes.
Yeah, so we didn't really... Yeah, as you've noticed from this, like, there's a lot of ambiguity with the scavenger hunt that we didn't really know, so we just kind of wandered to the information desk.
Yep.
And we're entering upon a weird argument that was not terribly great to walk up to when you think you've won something.
Yeah, when we got there, we basically found the other team was, arguing that some of our stuff shouldn't count.
Which is, if you want to argue that your own stuff should count, great. But tearing down another team for an event that's supposed to be fun, a little bit less great.
Kind of a dick move. So in particular, they were, commenting on our. We had a picture with Luffy.
Yep.
Or a Luffy cosplayer, I should say. For the anime that's currently airing that is not a sequel or spin-off to a pre-existing show.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, yeah, that's Luffy. It's One Piece. It's granted it started 25 goddamn years ago, but it's still airing, and it's still the same original show. It is not a spin-off. It is not a reboot. It's the same show.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy just kind of, the guy who wrote the scavenger hunt list just kind of looked at me and went, yeah, I should have closed that loophole. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. I freely admit that one probably wasn't in the spirit of what he intended for that, but rules as written.
Rules as written.
We got that one, and he fully acknowledged that. And again, I suspect if that category turns up again next year, he's going to make sure to close that particular loophole. Because again, it clearly was intended to be an anime that started within like the last year.
Yeah. And I do admit that's a little bit cheeky of us, but it's also a little bit cheeky of the other team to be arguing about our points.
Yep.
Like, if you want to argue for your own points, absolutely do that. That's fine.
Yep.
But don't, tear down other teams, because it's
not a good look.
It's not a good look, and this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's not terribly fun to go up to a table and think that you've won something and watch somebody arguing about your stuff. And I think I'm under my breath at that point. I feel uncomfortable, and people kind of quickly moved on, because I do think a couple people overheard me. Because that's just not something I was really prepared to do at the moment. I was just I thought we won. And also, both of our teams were announced as winners, and the prizes are 3D printed stuff. So, does it really matter?
The only difference between what we won and what they won is they had a collection of different 3D printed statues, and we got first pick of which one we wanted.
Yeah.
So we took the 3D printed Isabella from Animal Crossing because it looked kind of trophy-ish.
Yeah.
And we also got these 3D printed spinny star things.
Yeah.
Which again, they're cute.
Yeah.
They're fun.
And we had no idea what we were even going to win. It was cute. It's not really about winning. It's about having fun. And I'm still a bit unclear on who actually won technically by points, but it's not what it's about generally. So.
And again, I am confident nobody completed the entire thing because we didn't. Because at no point was there a single inflatable costume.
Yep.
Grr. And again, I don't think we got points for the vending machine one.
Yeah, we wanted one for a very long title. So I was just there was just one. It was just one time I was incarnated as a vending machine, and I just put a badge on a vending machine. But it made the people who were reviewing it laugh, which was really the only goal.
The intention of that one was, to make them laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Which, given that we got a laughing face emoji in response to it, I think we achieved.
Yeah.
But again, slightly more feedback about what has and hasn't been accepted, I think would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I do get means you kind of have to have a volunteer keeping an eye on the scavenger hunt throughout the entire weekend, which I know is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But again.
But I feel like if you do want people manning the information desk pretty consistently, that's probably another job you could tack onto that fairly easily. So
I suspect so.
But yeah, I don't want to give con volunteers more work for no reason. So. Yeah. So after that, we didn't see a reason to stick around for closing, not because we weren't having fun, but because we needed to pick up our stuff from the AtomCon, and we had to go to a gaming store in Cincy to pick them up, and we wanted to get food, because I can actually eat for the first time in a month, and it's great.
Do you want to clarify that statement, or are you just going to
Long-time listeners get it. Basically, I had surgery before it. I think in a combination of nerves and due to the fact that I had actual health stuff, I wasn't able to really like enjoy food for quite a while. And now I can enjoy food again, so that's nice.
Which is good.
Yes.
I was also theoretically like celebrating my birthday slightly late because my birthday sucked this year.
Yeah, because that was during one of our doctor's visits that went horribly wrong.
Yeah, that doctor's appointment was bad.
Yeah.
Side note, medical professionals, don't tell people one thing on the phone and then something completely different in person.
And don't also have doctors who are in the room who are just contradicting each other as they walk past.
Yep. Dicks. But yeah. So that was what we did at Ohayocon this year.
Yeah, we'll do our what we didn't do segment.
Yep.
Let me segment. So again, we didn't go to closing ceremonies. There was a bunch of drag stuff that we did not do. They had some, like a lot of cons, they had crafting stuff that you could do for additional cost.
Yep.
Cosplay panels, stuff related to the celebrity guests. Samurai Dan was there because he's just everywhere.
Yep.
Dude does not get a break. He's more insane than we are.
Yep. And again, like from what I've seen, I think his like basic self-defense classes look solid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're basic self-defense classes, but you know, he knows what he's talking about. And again, like my training, you know, I've only seen a little bit of his weapon workshops, and my training is in Western sword fighting, whereas his training is in Eastern sword fighting. They are different. You could spend a long time talking about the differences between HEMA and Kendo. It's not worth it, but let's not get into the samurai sword versus long sword debate because that would take a while and you don't care.
I'm already bored.
Yeah.
They had some karaoke as normal. They had a bunch of trivia panels, some stuff related to specific anime cons, pretty normal stuff, ribbon game meetup, fantasy ball I don't think quite happened the way they planned, but you know, stuff in the modern, or I think they'll be better prepared for that next year.
Yep.
They had cosplay chess, and just, yeah, very standard and fun fare.
Yep. So yeah, before we get on to top 10 con moments, the one thing top 3 con moments. The one thing I do want to bring up with this con is that I do think that a lot of their late night stuff ended up not making just because I do think there has been a pretty serious demographic shift. They were very heavily into family stuff this year in terms of like they had a lot of kids, they had a lot of families turning up.
They had a lot of people who were around our age or slightly older who were turning up. So not like, there weren't a lot of people in the like 20 to 25 demographic, and those tend to be the people who carry the late night stuff.
Yep. So yeah, so it did feel like the other con got very quiet after about 7, 8 o'clock each night.
Yeah.
Which again, it's not a bad thing. It's just I feel bad for anybody whose panel was late at night because I suspect a lot of them just kind of didn't make, and that's always a bad. That's never feels good.
And like some of them, I don't think need to be late night. Like game show panels generally are perfectly fine during the day. I understand putting like plus 18 panels late at night, but game show panels anyone can do, and like kids can watch and stuff like that. So
yeah, like 11 o'clock game show panel is a bit weird, but yeah, again. Yeah, so yeah, that's probably something to consider for next year. Like, I think it's just the difference between the Dayton crowd and the Columbus crowd. You know, Columbus definitely, I do think, skews more towards that, like 18 to 25 age bracket, whereas I think Dayton does skew, you know, like slightly older couples with kids.
Yeah, but they did show growth this year from last year, so hopefully that momentum keep going.
Yep.
So top 3 con moments.
Top 3 con moments. This is the problem. It's now a week ago, which means it's harder for me to remember.
I'll do my first one.
Okay.
Just the scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
It's unique. It's fun. It's everywhere, and yeah, it's just, you know, so many cons don't do this, and like if they do have it, it's just scanning QR codes. And as I've mentioned already this episode, it's never fun to scan QR codes. So this is really fun. It gets me to talk to people. It generated a lot of very fun personal interactions, and I really wish more cons would do this.
Yeah, like I get that it's a lift having to have somebody like manage it. You know, which I get that not every con can do, but the ones that can really should. Like,
yeah, I'm going to be trying to push it, I think, to the Techo people this weekend, because at Sangawa it doesn't quite work because it's a little bit too small, but at Techo it will be so much fun.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, honestly, I'm just going to go with like getting together with all that, with the various people for that Yu-Gi-Oh group cosplay picture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, just the fun interacting around that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really nice seeing some of those people again because they're not people we see super often. We finally go around to swapping contact details with some of them.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Just to be able to like keep in contact with them. So that's good.
I mean, mine was similar, which is we can also just go back and look at the other recordings. It actually still has those moments on there.
This is true.
We could have spliced them in.
No.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that takes work.
Because I know for sure one of mine was actually the Yu-Gi-Oh group, like just doing a huge group cosplay with all the Yu-Gi-Oh people is definitely one of mine, and I know for certain those were two of mine that I had originally. Mm-hmm. So you don't get to take the Yu-Gi-Oh people from me.
Okay.
So you have to come up with another one.
Okay.
Because one of yours was me interacting with kids.
Yeah. Again, like every time I do freely admit I adore. This is the problem. You and I are of the age when we could potentially be looking at having kids when we're ready. Mm-hmm. And we're not quite there yet, but it does mean that every time like kids see you, get utterly enchanted because they've just encountered a real life princess and want to interact with you. It's like, oh, that's the cutest thing ever, which is always adorable.
Yeah, I should just do character work sometimes, maybe.
Yep.
And I remember my last one was the Actually panel because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Actually was great.
So
again, Gregor's game shows also great as always throughout the weekend. There are some cons we've actively gone to just because we knew Gregor was going to be there. Like that's why we went to SubasaCon for the first time a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we still do love SubasaCons. We hope we keep inviting them back.
Yeah. And then my last one. Anime Court. Anime Court's always a hoot.
Yes, it is.
Cosplay Court, as it was named in this one. Again, it's always a hoot. I love getting into debates and arguments on stage with you because you always run rings around me in terms of the actual debate, but I have the advantage of this voice.
Yep.
Which makes Americans think I'm a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah, it doesn't work on me.
No. Again, back when we first started talking, I think it took the third message back and forth because we started off basically writing letters to each other. Mm-hmm. I think it was about the second or third message that I realized how much smarter than me you were. Which again, that's always a humbling experience, but it's fine. I love you.
Love you too. And yeah, my bonus one I'll just be honestly on Friday, just saying hi to all the people who recognized us previously is just kind of awesome.
Yep. At least because one of the people we bumped into was Bree from Starbase Indie.
Yeah, I thought we weren't saying names.
No, we've got her permission.
Oh yeah, we do have her permission to say her name.
But yeah, because we bumped into her, and I was having a solid minute there of, I know this person. Why do I know this person? Why do I know this person?
I recognized her immediately.
Yeah, I know.
Lucky for you.
Yeah, lucky for me, she mentioned Starbase. She mentioned Starbase, and my brain was like, Starbase. Oh, it's her.
No,
hi.
I mentioned Starbase because I knew that you had no idea who she was.
Oh, cool. Starbase was mentioned.
Which, by the way, if you're listening to this, Brie, I apologize for his ignorance.
In my defense, she was in a different cosplay this time.
Uh-huh.
But no, it was lovely seeing her again. Again, it really is one of those things that the thing I do love most about this convention, having now gone there for 4 years, is the feeling of community it brings. There are a bunch of people who we see year after year after year going to this con, who we frequently don't see at many other places. And it's just nice to be able to say hi to them, to interact with them, to have a bit of a catch-up. And that's a good community is ultimately what makes a con work. The steampunk community, the steampunk cons have it. Some of the board game cons have it. There are several board game events we go to where we see the same people time and again, and we do it because we love playing games with them.
Yeah.
One of the things this morning we were doing was planning for a couple of upcoming board game events. Mm-hmm. And we are looking at stuff and going, ooh, this person we've met at this previous con who ran a game we like is running another game. We should do that one.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that we really love about these conventions. We're not really vendors hall people. We'll walk around the vendors hall, we'll look.
Occasionally we'll get some artisanal plush or something like that.
But the vendors hall isn't the main draw for us.
Celebrities are definitely not the main draw.
Nope. If we wanted to meet celebrities, this would actually be a good con to do it because their lines would never particularly massive.
Mhm.
And at least one of the celebrity guests really liked your ball gown collection.
Yep. I get that a lot. Like, this is the thing is, like, I actually do wind up interacting with, like, celebrities. It's just, unfortunately, I don't know any of them a lot of the time. Where I'm just like, oh, cool. I realize you're trying to, like, have a positive interaction with me and you're vaguely famous. I have no idea who you are, and I'm sorry. I'm sure you are an amazing artist, obviously, if you're getting invited to cons. I have no clue who you are.
Yep. Yeah, like, I recognize some of their celebrities.
Mhm.
And that's not to say they were bad celebrities. It's just most of them are anime voice actors, and we don't watch a lot of anime.
Yeah. This is why we go to cons, even though we don't watch anime or do a bunch of other stuff. It's just because we like the con-unity.
That pun needed a lot of work.
No, it didn't. It was perfect.
So, final ranking, and as always, we will reiterate, our ranking system is based on one simple question. The question is, would we go back?
Yes, and if you've been listening for a long time, we thought about doing like an S to F tier ranking system, and then thought that just seemed mean, and also it's hard to compare different types of cons.
Yep.
So instead, we picked this very entirely subjective ranking system because it's largely based on how far the con is from us specifically.
Yep. But again, as we say, if it's a 7-hour drive and we say we'd definitely go back, that means it was a really good con.
Yep.
If it's a 1-hour drive and we're like, I don't know, probably not the greatest con.
At least for our personal taste, and your taste could be different.
Exactly.
So with all those leading factors in mind,
yes, I would.
Yes. I thought you said hell yes last time.
Okay, heck to the yes.
Okay.
Like, again, I love this convention.
We do. It's our first convention. It gave us the con bug. And there's this feeling I have, which you hate, but I love, of after I go to a con, that makes me immediately want to go and book or plan another con.
Yep.
And most people just ignore that feeling, or they book a con that's months in advance.
Yeah. No, you start looking for stuff to do the next weekend.
Yay!
And again, don't get me wrong, I get that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to get it with board game cons specifically, where we'll have a really good time playing TTRPGs, and then I'll be like, oh, I really want to run this one or run that one. But that gets my creative juices flowing.
Mm-hmm.
A desire to run new games and do that stuff. Whereas you just want to go to another con.
Well, it's not. That sounded almost dismissive.
No. Not what I meant.
I know. Well, generally, it's when I've had a really positive experience because I love people. For all the dumb and not great things people do, people are pretty awesome, and I love interacting with human beings. It's weird to figure out this late in life that I'm an extrovert.
Again, it says something that in our group chat with Rich and James, you sent just a meme of somebody holding their cat up and the cat not looking happy about it. It was extroverts dragging their introvert friends along to events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by the way, that picture is definitely AI, and I'm annoyed about it that I sent it, because it's they're holding the cat up by the legs, and then it shows a close-up on the cat, and they're holding it under the armpits, and I'm just there's no way this is real. Might just be bad Photoshop. I miss when bad Photoshop was just the thing.
Yep. Seriously.
We don't want to end on a sour note.
We don't, but don't use generative AI.
Don't.
Anyway, so overall, this was a really good con.
Yes.
We had a lot of fun with it. It was kind of what we needed after, the week with the surgery.
Yep.
Seeing
friends, doing our first big group cosplay. I get why people do big group cosplays now. It's a ton of fun.
It is. It's a lot of, work and effort to plan for.
But it helps that I think all of us just happen to have costumes that we really like wearing. And I know American Weevil have worn those costumes for ages, which isn't that they're bad costumes. It's just they're our Hades and Persephone, their favorite costume, which is awesome. Which
is fair. Again, most people have one of those. They have a specific costume that they really love, that speaks to them, that, that's fine, fair, and normal, and, yeah. Bridget is probably one of their, my cosplays.
Or maybe Ruby, I don't really know.
Or maybe Ruby. Again, she likes those two particular ones and tends to alternate between them, which, again, fine. Half the time you buy a new fun ball gown and then are okay, what can I backfill this as a costume?
Yep. I'll wear the Ditto costume tomorrow. We'll figure it out. So yeah, I would say next week we're going to Sengawa Project as our normal sign-off, but we're quite literally going right now. We're in the car on the way there.
Had to come out late because of technical issues.
Yeah.
So next week's episode, and by next week's, I mean 2 days from now, assuming we don't get more
technical. Yeah, we're recording it tomorrow.
Yeah. Assuming we don't get more technical cock-ups, then the episode on the Sengawa Project should be out not too long after that.
Yes. And I think after Sengawa, we are getting into the point where we are repeating some conventions from the previous year. So
Plus two, because next week's MCFC, which I think was like episode 3.
yes, they did move the date, so it's earlier in the year than it otherwise would. We'll talk more about that for that particular episode. People have been asking us about this, about like, and by people I mean like one person have been asking about if we will re-review the same cons. We absolutely will, because every year the con's different.
Yep. There's a reason why, as of 2026, I've started appending the year in which the con takes place to the episode titles.
Yeah. And I will say the cons we go to this year, some will be the same, some will be different. And you can take from that what you will. Some of that's just some cons are now across from each other in terms of timing that weren't before.
Yep.
Like we talked about how Sakai Con and Tsubasa Con are now across from each other. So we can't go to both of those. Like we could. I would be willing, but you're not. So
again, that means either doing like a day at each or
yeah, and we tend to like weekend experiences. We can like fully review the con, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll figure it out. Again, if you're curious, the con spreadsheet planning document thing is in the it's in the description. It should be up to date.
Yeah. I don't always update the percentiles of likelihood to go, but if you're at a con or want to say that you want to go to a con, just let us know.
Yeah.
And if you would like us at one of your conventions, feel free to email the Con Couple Podcast.
Yes, concouplepodcast@gmail.com. Again, link in the description. And, if you want to offer us press badges or something for free, we'll happily do it.
Yeah.
Assuming it's within practical driving distance.
And even if it's not, if you're offering us free press badges, we'll see what we can do. Keep in mind that, like, our schedule gets more flexible in summer.
Yep.
But...
yeah, because you're not working at that point.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, overall, really good convention. Like, a couple of minor to moderate snafus.
Yeah, and I do want to emphasize that all of our feedback is constructive and calm and, like, not meant to be like this was a horrific experience. I do think some of these issues, if you continue to grow, are going to become issues. Like, not having a scheduling app on day one probably is going to become a thing.
Yeah.
Having the line cut off from the stairs probably is going to become a thing.
Yeah.
But
you're
still growing, you're filling out a new venue and an environment, and as you're doing that, all cons make these types of mistakes.
Yeah.
So
it's fine, it's normal. You'll get through it. So yeah, I think that's everything we wanted to talk about.
Yay!
Yay!
Can you at least try to sound perky?
Yay!
It sounds fake, doesn't it?
It always does. I'm British, we're not allowed to be perky.
You promised you're going to be perky today.
I am perky.
You just said you weren't allowed to be perky.
I'm not allowed to be perky, which means
you're ruining the outro.
You're the one. You're the one who's complaining about my levels of perk. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully, we'll see you in like 2 days for the episode on the Sangawa project.
Yay!
And welcome to Pennsylvania, by the way.
Yay! As a reminder, this podcast is solely recorded in our car when keeping the laws of other states we drive through. We use hand-free microphones and lapels. Please don't sue us. Bye.
Bye.